Okay. I think we're good. Gonna pop out the chat, move it to the other monitor. Do that, do this, boom. Okay, and there we got that, and that's cool, and there we go. How you doing, folks? I hope you're doing well. Let's see here. We've got Rod Wonder. Good morning. How you doing? Dragonfire, morning from Quebec. Good to see you. Beep Boop, not a bot, says afternoon from a surprisingly hot French Alps. Well, feels like spring already. Yeah, we had that like a week ago or so. Around here, we call it Fool's Spring, where all of a sudden it'll be like in the 50s, Fahrenheit in February. Everyone's like, oh, wow, spring is here. And you're like, no, it's not. It's currently snowing. Not much, just a little tiny bit, but still. Fool Spring is over. At least, well, the first Fool Spring. I'm sure we'll have a couple more. Good morning. Oddly enough, printing Trench Crusade models. Nice. Hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Rodney, how you doing? Good morning from cold Yukon, Oklahoma. Still working on Horus Heresy. Odd sci-fi kit bashes today. Nice. Fungazi, good to see you. Good morning from the capital of the free world, Washington, D.C. There you go. Good morning from the soon-to-be-buried in snow, Maryland. Yeah, we had some drinks last night, my wife and I, with a friend of mine who I've known since middle school. And she lives out in Manhattan in New York. And she's home to see her mom. And she's like, yeah, I'm glad that I'm not flying back home until Tuesday, back to New York, because she said there's supposed to be a huge snowstorm like today or something like that. So I heard about that through her. Let's see here. John Ashley, how you doing? Morning from Quebec City, just chilling with a cup of coffee. Nice. Double dip. Good afternoon from Kent, England. How you doing? Pokama, greetings. VJ Morph, good time of day. Minionaires, nice. Blade Runner 21577. There you go. Good afternoon from a rain-soaked Isle of Wight. I watched the end of Blade Runner 2049 last night after we got back from drinks. I had been watching it on Friday and then stopped just before he gets to Vegas. Spoilers. Not really. But yeah. So I picked up and watched the rest of it. I think I left the Blu-ray in the machine. I'll have to fix that. Let's see here. Good time of day, Adam and everyone from Clearwater, Florida. How you doing? Morning from New Jersey. The blizzard is starting. Gotcha. No idea how DC is supposed to get snow when it's 40 degrees out. I mean, they'll figure something out. Daryl, good morning. Rick Knight, morning from Colorado. Let's see here. The Mike D, getting ready for a blizzard in New Jersey. Gotcha. Yeah, we've gotten snow, but we haven't gotten any kind of blizzards or anything like that. Knocking on wood, he says. Hi from Montreal, Quebec. How you doing? Greg, morning. Pesler, good morning from Saskatchewan. We got a foot of snow dumped on us last Wednesday. Yeah, that's no fun. Hello from a chilly north central West Virginia. Started assembling my damned dudes, and the Clipper spring breaks in 4. Just my luck. Oh, that's no fun. I've only built 2.5 of those models so far. I've been busy, but I did start building them, and I like them so far. So initially I was like, I don't want to waste them, because I only have a set amount of them, in the box that I got sent, from it wasn't Kickstarter, it was GameFound. I backed the GameFound, and I'm like, well, I only got this many, but then I'm like, well, no, they're going to sell them at retail. You're going to be able to buy them in other boxes and stuff like that. Because I was like, well, I got ideas to do this and this and this, but I'm like, yeah, but what if I want to do that? And I only have so many. And I mean, literally, like, of the normal, like, just regular infantry guys, I think I have 5 sprues maybe. So I either have 25 or 30 models, which is plenty. But again, it would be, nice to be able to just buy a box. I talked to somebody from Wargames Atlantic, and they said that probably in a couple of months they'll go to retail. The Damned. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, The Damned is a set of kind of like Trader Guard looking plastics from Wargames Atlantic. They partnered with Mini Wargaming, and they made them. And there was a bunch of delays, unfortunately, on the production. There was a problem with the backpacks on some of the models and the sprues, and it was a thing. So, but they've finally started shipping. So I got mine a couple weeks ago. A week ago? More than a week ago. I think 2 weeks ago, almost. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I've got male infantry, female infantry, and I have beastmen infantry, which I did not realize until Friday when I was looking at the sprues on Twitch. I didn't realize, I thought they were just all goat people, but there's also cat heads in there too. And like in the 6 bodies that are on each sprue for the beastmen, 4 of them have hooves and 2 of them have like paws, like claws, like on their feet. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to make so many cat dudes. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, let's see here. Start assembling my day. I read that. Good morning, I think. Looking like spring here in north of England. Well, that's good. Good morning from the Great Plains. How you doing? Finally, largely over my second winter plague and organizing my latest eBay acquisitions. Nice. Got some Demon Blade and Legions of Steel goodness. Nice. Hit 10 Celsius on Wednesday. The next day had a blizzard. Well, yeah. Incoming blizzard Delaware. Sure. Good morning from rainy mid-Atlantic. Snow to come here as well. Terrier Halo, how you doing? Good morning from the Netherlands. How you doing, Steve? I've been reading the Trench Crusade rulebook. Excited to get your take on the game. It's a great game. I'm looking forward to playing again with Sam, hopefully soon. I have 2 forces painted. I have the Trench Pilgrims. I have a force of them. You can see that guy that I painted in the thumbnail there, right? And that's the Shrine Anchorite. He's a ton of fun to paint. And then I relatively recently, like within the last several weeks, finished painting the Prussians, the new and initial plastics that they produced. And I like those models a lot too. And I think in a little bit I might talk a little bit more about what I plan on doing, because I really want to paint the, I want the Black Grail to be my next group, the Cult of the Black Grail, just because they look like they're going to be a hoot to paint. So that's what I'm looking for right now. But yeah, I think it's a great game. Good morning from Union County, Georgia. Hope you're doing well. Painting up Battletech infantry from the Royal Partha days. Nice. Like your sweater, is that merch or from somewhere else? It's from somewhere else. It's got Mothman on it. My wife bought me this for Christmas. It's she found it online somewhere, and it's got Mothman all over it. So yeah, it's not merch, but it is. It's merch from me for somebody else. I don't know, but it is definitely. It's nice. It's. I wear hoodies pretty much from about October until about May. It seems like, and so sometimes it's nice to not wear a hoodie. Like when I put on my coat last night, I didn't have to like get my hood out from underneath it, and all that kind of stuff, because there's no hood. So there you go. Let's see here. Good afternoon from sunny Switzerland. Good morning from the Philly burbs. Snow from 3 weeks ago finished melting yesterday. Supposed to get a foot more today. I mean, that's how it works. Unfortunately. Looks like a good Trench Crusade force. Good morning from Charlotte, North Carolina. Son and I are cleaning up the hobby space and building a few models. Nice. Still have some of the old metal Battletech infantry too. Nice. Can't wait to do some Trench Crusade demos at Adepticon. Yeah, they're going to go pretty heavy at Adepticon. I think it's going to be... So, okay. They're going to, in theory, possibly as soon as in a couple of weeks, like early March, they're going to release 3 new boxes for Trench Crusade. And they're still going to be Prussians. So there's going to be a box that has 2 sniper priests in it, which there's currently not a plastic sniper priest. And then there's going to be a box of like new sculpts of yeomen, which are the kind of like grunts to some degree in the army. And then a box of new sculpts of Stoßtruppen or Stoßtruppen. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm not German or Prussian. Anyway, they are going to. I don't know if they'll be available to buy at Adepticon, but everything I've seen is that they're supposed to be released in early March. So you may start seeing them in stores in early March. I was a little surprised. I kind of thought they were going to come out with another, because the original box they came out with, which I think I can show you, websites. If I go to shop down here, come on, there you go. Yeah. So this is the. If I just click on this, it'll probably take me someplace. So maybe we see a better picture. Right. So these are the Prussian. This is the Prussian Warband. So you get, I don't know, X amount of models in the box. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight models. A Hauptmann, a Feldkaplan, and 3 of the Staatstruppen and 3 of the Yeomen. So I painted up everybody in that box. Plus, I also added via resin printing. I had my friend Dave over at Bottle and Spool. I had him print me the heavy infantry guy, the big kind of like power armor dude, and one of the sniper priests, because they can be taken in this force as well. This Prussian Staatstruppen Warband is a sub-faction of the Principality of New Antioch, which is one of the original 6 warbands. So anyway, painted those guys up. Sorry. Painted these guys up. They were a hoot. Had a good time with it. What else? But now, like I said, they're going to be releasing 3 new boxes, which they've showed the boxes, but the model photos on them are all just silhouettes. So I haven't seen them yet. But it is definitely a small box with 2 sniper priests, and then 2 other boxes, one with Yeoman and one with Staatstruppen. Now, the question is, again, like I said, are they going to have that at Adepticon to sell? Hopefully, for people who are interested in that. But then also, are they going to announce anything else new at Adepticon? Like, they're going to have like a preview kind of event, from what I understand. So that'll be interesting to find out whether they're going to, talk about the next thing. Because I'm assuming eventually they're going to make some bad guy plastics. You know what I mean? Like, so far they haven't. And like I said, I kind of assumed they were going to make that warband box for the Prussians, let's say, and then make a bad guy warband box. Like maybe I was hoping for trench ghosts, frankly, but we'll see what happens. But right now we don't know. So that's kind of where that's at. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Adepticon for tons of reasons, but also to find out more stuff about what's going on with Trench Crusade. And like I said, they're going to have a couple of different, like they're going to have a big narrative event. They're going to have demos. They're going to have a lot of stuff going on there. Let's see here. Afternoon from Puckle Church in the UK. Painted up a Spitfire model kit today as a bit of a palette cleanser. Nice. Next for Trench Edition, 2nd edition. You just call it the Second Crusade. I'm marketing genius. Steve from accounting did the decimals wrong, and now there's elves with shotguns in no man's land. Oh, that's no good. No, they did just update the rules just a scotch. The most recent version is, I think, 1.0.2. So, but I don't think it was I think it was maybe spelling errors and stuff like that. I don't know. But that was a relatively recent thing. So, hello, Motor Breath Jazz. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I like to paint minis. Good morning from Paul in Gilbert, Arizona. How you doing? If anyone is new to wargaming, would you recommend skirmish games to start, like Trench Crusade? I would definitely say skirmish games in general are the best place to start. And the reason for that is because you have so many fewer models you have to concern yourself with. To sit down and play an army game as your first game, like most army games, you're going to need to paint 30, 40, 50, 60 models. Some of them might be vehicles. Some of them might be regular, troops. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Skirmish games are a great place to start, in my opinion, because many skirmish games are 4, 5, 6, 7 models, and that's all you need for your force. Like for Trench Crusade, for example, one of the reasons Trench Crusade is cool, besides the fact, in my opinion, that I just like the story and the art and the gameplay itself, the rules are good. The rules are free. You can just download them over here. Click. You go to, this is the trenchcrusade.com front page. You just click on rules, and then it brings you to here. And this is the digital rule book, and you can download it for free. This is the warbands, so it's all the different stats and listings and things like that. You can download a roster sheet if you want to. Here's the change log of things that changed, rules, commentaries. They even also have a section just for lore if you want to learn about the stuff and read things, and it's all, it's up here. But yeah, so you don't need to buy a book. Like they did make a book, excuse me, and it's been shipping to people for the last couple of months, but it is, you had to get it through the Kickstarter originally. They will eventually have some sort of book, I guess, available at retail, but I don't know when that's going to happen. But they've said the rules will always be free. And honestly, in my opinion, like, I didn't buy the book when I backed the Kickstarter. I bought STLs for 3D printing. I'm a little sad I didn't buy the book because the artwork looks really cool and I enjoy that stuff. But I was like, but like, if I know there's rules in the book, but they're already slightly out of date. And that's just the way that big games work. That's why I think that it's always smart for companies who are doing this stuff to make these rules free. You know what I mean? Because then I can just be like, well, I'm not going to buy the book because I know it's going to be out of date pretty quickly. And these downloadable rules won't ever be, because you can always just download the next set and tweak things and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's basically free to get started because the rules are all free. And these are the full rules. These are not like starter rules or stuff like that. And then you can kit bash your own models if you want to. You don't have to use their 3D printer ones. If you don't have a 3D printer or a friend with a 3D printer, you can just kit bash and use whatever you want, or just proxy and stuff like that. They're totally cool with kit bashing and proxies and everything like that. So yeah, it's very, but it's not just Trench Crusade. There's lots of games out there that do that kind of stuff. A lot of indie stuff. You're seeing in the indie space a lot these days. Especially in skirmish gaming, you see a lot of people doing solo and co-op games too. So if you want to start playing and you can play it solo to learn how to play without having to, like, for lack of a better word, inconvenience somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, hey, can you teach me how to play? Instead, you learn how to play and play solo. And then you can teach somebody else how to play, and the two of you can play co-ops. You're not playing against each other adversarially. You're like, okay, we're going to play against the game and work together. And that's, and then there's usually, most of those games do have some sort of way to play against each other. Not all of them. Like the ones that Vince and I make, the games that Vince and I make through Snarling Badger Studios, we always put in a adversarial or versus mode as well. We usually call it skirmish mode. But I think that honestly, the better way to play more often than not is co-op. But your mileage may vary. There we go. Let's see here. Good morning from San Antonio, Texas. Sunny San Antonio, Texas. Well, how you doing? Good morning from soon-to-be snowier Connecticut. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hello from Portland, Oregon, where we are yet to see any snow this winter. Well, let's see here. Scrolling. I got my damned, gave them a glance, and immediately put them on the shelf. I'd since switched from 28 to 90 millimeters to Alpha Strike. They were supposed to be here for Necromunda, then for Trench Crusade. Yeah, it was it took a lot longer to get them here than they would have liked, than I would have liked. They're great models, and so I'm glad that they're here now finally. But they had some manufacturing issues, from what I understand, which it's interesting because I really wonder if they needed to do a Kickstarter, or, well, GameFound technically. I'm still a little confused as to why they did that, because if you look at Wargames Atlantic, how many things have they put out that they didn't do a Kickstarter? Most of them, right? Like, if you look at all the products on their website, almost none of those came out on a Kickstarter. So I don't know why these needed to. I wonder if it was because they were working with Mini Wargaming, and maybe they just wanted to get like a flavor, like, is this going to work or not? You know what I mean? And then it did, and it worked great and everything, but then they had some problems. I think the trick is that sometimes there are manufacturing problems behind the scenes, but you don't know about it because you're not waiting for it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't announce the stuff until they have it finished, and then you go, oh, good, hey, that's cool, I can buy that now, awesome. But when it's a Kickstarter or a GameFound or whatever, some sort of crowdfund, then you're like, oh, cool, I can't wait for it. And there's like, well, there's some manufacturing problems, and then people get all angry about it and whatever. But I mean, it was a bummer, but now this stuff shipped, so I'm glad. Like I said, I'm enjoying the models. Morning from sunny Milwaukee, dealing with work plans canceled for the week. Sorry, Boston area viewers, for the blizzard. I mean, I hope that it wasn't your fault, but yeah. Good morning from Vegas. 38 degrees. Wow. For someone new, I would recommend a fun skirmish game with no 3D printing or kit bashing needed. Stargrave games, Stargrave, Frostgrave, that's the other one. Death Wizards, Trench Crusade et al. Sure. Morning from sunny South. How you doing? Happy time of day. I hope you and yours are well. I think we're doing okay. So far, so good. What are we doing today? We're going to my wife's parents' house for lunch like we normally do. And then right after that, we're going to another restaurant for a friend's birthday party where I will, I don't know, maybe eat a salad at best because we will have literally just eaten lunch. And then that's the thing. But yeah. Sounds like the Shenathra from Strike Team Alpha. I don't know what that means. It's not raining. Well, that's good. I'm assuming it's been raining a lot. After 5 years, I've got a reliable play group to meet once a month to run games. Good times, my friends, good times. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Lee. Absolutely. Did anyone play Freeblade on Android and know where you can get those double guns they used? I didn't know. Freeblade, like with the big stumpy robot, like the GW thing? Because there's a miniatures game called Freeblades. I thought that's what you meant, but then I don't know. Wondering from Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing? Howdy from Boston. Waiting for the blizzard to hit. Gotcha. Signing up for GaryCon. You mean GaryCon? I don't know. Is there a GaryCon? I know there's a GaryCon. I mean, Gary Gygax, but still, I see what you're saying. Signing up for GaryCon, if that's the one. Need a trip back to Wisconsin for Spotted Cow. I can understand that. I thought about going to GaryCon, but it is literally the weekend before Adepticon. I did go last year, but just like one day for like a couple hours, because it's about a 2-hour drive for me to get there. So it's not terrible. But last year, and this year again as well, Army Painter had a booth. And so Army Painter will have a booth again there this year. And then Adam, who's like he's not the head of marketing, but he's like the head of the factory team. He was one of the guys that was at the booth and all that kind of stuff. And then his plan was after GaryCon got done and they took down the booth, then he was going to get an Uber from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin to where Sam lives, which is about a 2.5-hour drive. And he told me this, and I was like, I don't know if you're going to get an Uber to drive you that far, and it's going to be really expensive, because he was going to basically hang out with Sam like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, then Wednesday they were going to drive to Adepticon, which for Sam is about maybe a 2-hour drive to get to Milwaukee. For me, it's about an hour and a half. I'm closer to Milwaukee, slightly. So I said, well, here, I'll get done with the Every Other Sunday show. The Every Other Sunday show was the same weekend as the GaryCon last year. So I'm like, I'll get done with the thing, hop in the car, drive to Lake Geneva, hang out with you guys for a while, take a look at GaryCon and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll give you a ride back and drop you off at Sam's. So that's what we did last year. I don't know if he's going to GaryCon this year. Like the event team is, but I don't know if he's going, because he's going to Adepticon and like the rest of us are. So, yeah, but I've been to that convention place before where GaryCon is, because that's where there's a much, much, much smaller convention that I like to go to in October called Dragonfall, and it's also at the Lake Geneva, Grand Geneva Resort or whatever it's called. But that's maybe like 300 to 400 people, maybe 500, whereas GaryCon is, I don't know, 3,000 to 5,000 people. It's all role playing stuff. It's a lot of folks. And famous folks go there too. Like, I've heard Vin Diesel goes, but I don't know anyone who's ever seen him, but I've heard that he goes. But like Vince Vaughn was there a couple of years ago. I saw pictures of him. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. He's the guitarist. There's a big, huge wrestler guy. He's either the Big Show or Triple H. One of those two guys has been there too. I've seen pictures of him as well. But yeah, so it's interesting. Having fun painting up Blood Bowl gnomes. Nice. Jim Crimmins, how you doing? Good morning from Mobile, Using your Indominus Necron technique from 5 years ago on my Robot Legion team. Definitely a thumbs up. Well, cool. I'm glad to hear it. I bet it turns out cool. Morning from NYC. How you doing, Matthew? Good morning from snowy Columbus, Ohio. How you doing? Moths and sweaters don't mix unless you want to wear holy garb on Sunday. Whoa. I will be keeping my eyes peeled for any new releases for Trench Crusade and may pick them up. That's very cool. Psychic Hazard, how you doing? Good afternoon from North Wales. Loved the Warband show and tell vid. More, please. Well, I'm glad. It didn't get any views, but I'm glad that it's weird because the comments are so positive, but I'm just like, yeah, I just didn't get that many views. But well, you know, they can't all be bangers as far as views concerned. But nobody was like, well, that was dumb. You know what I mean? So that's at least a benefit. People seem to like it. Just not that many people watched it, but it's okay. Excuse me. Way more interested in seeing some bad guy plastic from Trench Crusade? Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing how it looks too. Good guys are way less interesting. I liked the Prussians quite a bit. I really did. I enjoyed painting the heck out of them. But I definitely want to see, like, the next force that I want to do is the Black Grail. So, they are very, I don't want to say they're nurgly, but they're kind of a little nurgly. They're definitely gross and have like disease and things like that and whatnot. This is the Lord of Tumors, who is basically the leader unit in the Warband, and he's pretty cool. He's big too. So I'm really looking forward to painting him. I think that's going to be pretty dope. And then what else? These guys, the Corpse Guard, are pretty cool. I like especially the one with the gun, I think is really cool. But yeah, so I'm really super interested in doing these because, like I said, both forces I painted so far have been good guys. Now, admittedly, the Trench Pilgrims are still kind of gross in comparison, you know, to the Prussians. The Prussians are very much like, oh, well, we're, you know, regular, normal World War I soldiers a little bit, but with some tweaks and, you know, some stuff like that going on. Whereas the Trench Pilgrims, you know, like there's that Shrine Anchorite, which is on the, you know, here on the title card. There's a person like welded inside that. Like the lore behind the Shrine Anchorite is that you volunteer to go inside. You go inside, they weld you in there, and they don't let you out until you're dead, basically. And then you drive this big kind of steam-powered robot thing, and you fight the, you know, forces of hell and whatever. And so it's like, you know, it's got some definite. There's definitely some like grim darkness, much more grim darkness to Trench Pilgrims than, say, perhaps like, you know, the Principality New Antioch, which are basically just basically the English kind of, and then the Prussians, which are just basically kind of the Germans or German adjacent or whatever. But nonetheless, the Black Grail are definitely a vibe that is different. So I'm interested in that. Wow, I'm actually early for a stream? Well, nice. Good to see you. Are you interested in the Starcraft miniatures game? I played the video game a tiny bit back in the day. Not particularly, I guess. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I know that, who do I follow? A Hobby Homies out of Australia, or maybe New Zealand, but I think it's Australia. One of the guys from that show did a thing kind of talking about the rules set and stuff like that because they're kind of starting to send it out. I think they're going to start selling it at Adepticon. I think that'll be the first place you can buy it, but I could be wrong on that. They reached out to me, the company that makes it, Archon, and I was like kind of interested in talking about it and looking at it, and they were going to send me some stuff ahead of time and everything, and then I was like, I don't know. I'm just not interested as much in army games anymore. And if it was a skirmish game, it it wouldn't make sense because the video game was about a lot of stuff going on, right? So it wouldn't make sense to make it a skirmish game, I'll admit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not 100% sure on licensed games these days. I like Archon. I like the stuff they do. Like they're making the plastics for Trench Crusade. They do great work. But I just didn't have the background in Stargrave or the love for it, you know? I played more Diablo than I did Stargrave, I mean, if we're honest. So I'm a little surprised no one's made a Diablo miniatures game. Did they? I can't think of one now that I ponder. Let's see here. Trench Crusade definitely need boxes for the bad guys in plastic. You can easily kit bash the Pilgrims in New Antioch. I mean, to some degree, sure, yeah, that's true. Kudos for Friday's video show and tell Warband's truly inspiring stuff. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. Halo Flashpoint is a great beginner skirmish game, in my opinion. Obviously, OnePageRules too, but Halo includes terrain. Yeah, no, the Halo, and again, that's a licensed game. I played more Halo than I played Starcraft. Starcraft. But it, and I've painted up a little bit of the Halo stuff. It's a good game system, but again, it's also skirmish, which I like. If you get the Recon pack or whatever, the box, it's relatively inexpensive. It has cardboard terrain, like you said. It's got a mat. It's got 2 forces that are equal. There's only like 4 models each. They're in different colored plastic, so if you haven't painted them yet, you can still differentiate them pretty well. Yeah, it is also a good. That would be a good starter as well. I'm not gonna lie. Just got my book last week. Definitely worth it for the art alone and the lore. Yeah, I mean, I'm not usually a lore guy too much. I do kind of wish I got the book. I watched a video by the book designer, the person who did the layout, and he went through the book like online, and he had like top-down camera so you could see it and everything like that. And it was like, well, but it's fine. I have a lot of books, so I don't know that I need any more necessarily either. They did make a book, and they said that the rules would always be free up front. I see people on Facebook complaining that they're updating the rules. It's the circle of nerd life. I mean, people are going to complain regardless. Most bigger games will always update. There will always be little things that need to get tweaked, and that kind of stuff. And I get that. Like, me and Vince don't update our rules particularly, but we do make like an FAQ or an errata if needs be. But we design, it's the difference between what I like to call an ecosystem game and like a standalone game. That standalone might not be the right word. I haven't quite come up with a good word for it yet. But the ecosystem is a game like Warhammer, is a game like Trench Crusade. They're expecting that you're going to play it maybe as like your daily driver, like the game you always play. And that's fine, whatever. There's people who are just like, I just want to focus on one game. And then eventually they start focusing on a different game and they hop around. Or some people just stick with one game their entire gaming career or whatever, and that's fine too. But yeah, I don't know. It's Vince and I we've never wanted to make an ecosystem game. I think when we launched Reign in Hell, a lot of people thought we were going to be, because we had literally the first day that we launched Reign in Hell, we had a guy message us or something, or it was in the comments of the video or whatever, the launch video. He's like, so when's the first expansion? And we're like, that's not a plan. We're not really, I mean, we did technically make an expansion because we had a lot of people go, hey, it's 2021. It'd be kind of cool if we could play this solo or co-op. And I was like, yeah, we didn't think of that. So we did make like a little expansion for it for that reason. But every game we've made since has had solo and co-op built into it. So there hasn't been a need for expansions. There's been little tiny add-ons that you could get in Snarl if you wanted to, but they're like nice to haves. They're not required. So yeah, I don't know. Any game that's like, this is the thing is always going to have updates. If it's just like, this is our like platform going forward. But stuff like me and Vince, when we make a new game every year, we're not, and it's not that our games are dead, you know what I mean? Because we have people be like that, oh, so it's a dead game because you're not going to update it. We're like, no, it's just finished. You can buy it at any time. It's always available because it's print on demand, so we're never out of stock. You can sit down, play, have a good time with your friends, do a campaign, be done, play a different game, go do something else, whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to take over your life, right? So any kind of game that is like, this is our system that we're going to like hang our hat on, Warhammer, War Machine, Trench Crusade, Infinity, that kind of stuff, there will always be updates. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, well, we're doing this every 3 years so we can make more money, like, Games Workshop. Or it might just be like, there's been things that need to get tweaked, so we're going to do that in the free rules, like Trench Crusade. So, that's the way it kind of works. Any plan on battle reports for Trench Crusade? I got a I don't know. I got to figure out how to do battle reports if I'm going to. Like, I started trying to do battle reports back in, it was back when Kill Team, like 2018 version of Kill Team, sat down, did a battle report 1 month with my friend Josh. Worked out okay. Next month, I did a battle report with my friend John, and it worked out great for me. It didn't work out great for him. He could not. He had his Sisters of Battle playing against my Death Guard, and he could not land a hit. Like every time he would like finally land a hit, I would roll the disgustingly resilient 5-up save, and I would make it every single time. He literally did not do a single wound to my army or my force the entire game. So that was just, my dice were hot for once in my life. And my plan initially was to try to do those every month. But so I did one in January of 2020, and then one in February of 2020. And then March of 2020 came along. And then I couldn't really get together with people to do battle reports. And a lot of people couldn't get together to do anything. And so that was bad timing. I have not tried to do it again since, first of all, because I don't play Kill Team anymore, because I mean, since that date, there's been 2 new editions, of course, and I don't like either of them. I don't know. They're a lot of work. I don't know. Let's see here. Battle reports. I play Halo using OnePageRules. So that's kind of cool. Halo Flashpoint's a great introduction to miniature war games. Nice. Awesome value in the Recon edition. Yeah, that's the one I have, is the Recon edition. Got my first Skirmish war game, Warcrow. Loving it. Oh, nice. Have you tried Space Gits? I stumbled on it, and it seems like a good low-stakes skirmish beginner game. I haven't, but I think somebody ran it at TMX, I think, last year. Let's see here. Good afternoon from a finally sunny and warm Gloucester. I think I'm saying that wrong. I apologize. Now I just need to get home and spray prime a load of my minis. Nice. Wargames Atlantic have said that The Damned was an experiment to see if they could produce a whole army range in one go. They have also said that they would not do it again. I can understand that, yeah. Because you're not wrong. It's not like everything else they've done in the past. They've been like, here's a box, and here's another box, and here's another box. But this thing is, there's regular infantry, there's women infantry, female infantry, whatever. There's beast people infantry. There's also, I think, heavy infantry, and then I think there's maybe artillery. There's like 5 different sets, basically, that I know of, and there might be another one that I just didn't buy. Pretty sure Adam did a video on Space Gits. I don't think I did. I mean, I know what it is. It's from Mike Hutchinson, I'm 98% sure, who did Gaslands and Hobgoblin. I think it's called Hobgoblin. I'm 98% sure it's called. I think it's on my shelf behind me. But I've not played Space Gits. I like Space Weirdos. It's kind of, but made my own rules using Prime Brothers as a base. Totally makes sense. Snarlcast tomorrow? Yes. Another bonus for starting with a skirmish game, you can always use the minis to start an army if you want to play bigger conflicts. Also true, yeah. I mean, that initially that was kind of supposed to be the idea with Kill Team, and then they sort of screwed that up a little bit, but GaryCon, oops. Yep, no, GaryCon, GygaxCon. I mean, I get it. I think just Gygax is hard to say, and GygaxCon even more so. Excuse me. Moose bites can be nasty. It's true. Anyone see that the moose entered the downhill event? No, I saw the dog in some other event whose name was Nazgul. Did your skeleton turn out okay? Oh, yeah. Well, yes, mostly. So yesterday was the live show for the Patreon supporters. Uncle Adams are regulars. The top level Patreon supporters, it's $4 a month. It's not. Anyway, so I did the show, and while when I started the show, I got a print running on my 3D printer downstairs, and so I used the software up here, and I was sharing my screen, showing people. I've been making these statues, right? So I've got one. If you've been watching me on Twitch lately, I've been showing it a little bit. It's nearly done. I don't have it up here, unfortunately, the statue, but it is. It's kind of like a. Kind of almost looks like a mannequin. You know what I mean? Like you put clothes on it and stuff like that, but they're naked, but they're not like naked. They don't have like they're not anatomical. Let's say that. And so I really love Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And like I said, when he goes to Vegas, there's these giant orange lady statues who are a bit more explicit than what I was trying to go for. I wanted a statue for like cyberpunk terrain, right? Something about yay tall, of basically like a mannequin style kind of lady, no hair and no clothes and no whatever. And then I want to have her holding one of those signs, like the digital signs that I did. They're like these little LED name tags, and then I built a little thing, and then I put them on buildings and make them look like a digital billboard kind of thing, and they're fun. Anyway, so yesterday I decided to print another one, which I had used Hero Forge to sculpt. And sculpt is a strong word. Anyway, Hero Forge is a place you can go. It's heroforge.com, and you can build your own miniatures. And then they will either print them for you and ship them to you for 40 or 50 bucks, or you can, for $8, you can get the STL file and print it yourself. So I did that, but then instead of it being a 28 millimeter dude or whatever, I just blew it up and then printed it on my FDM printer. So yesterday I printed this skeleton with these cool bat wings. That's kind of a statue sort of a thing. And it worked. Everything was fine. And so I went down this morning because it finished, I don't know, at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I went down this morning after I get done taking a shower, but before I had breakfast and I was like, and I took it off the plate and everything's fine, but it's covered in supports because it's, And so I started peeling the supports off with a needle nose pliers, and it mostly worked, but I did kind of accidentally rip off his head. So he's still got some of them left here. He's still definitely got a bunch of supports around the pelvis area that I got to pull away. And there's a couple extra supports on his head here. So I'll just glue that back on. That should be easy. I might even reinforce it, put some like paper clips in there or something like that. So yeah, he's going to be this statue, and he's got this arm kind of sticking out. And initially I was thinking, well, maybe I put something here on the arm, and I'm like, eh. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I don't put his head on there. Maybe I glue like a little print like a little mini TV or something and put it on there. I don't know. But yeah, he's just like a little statue that you're going to have. I like these statue ideas you could easily do a statue too, for a fantasy game, like put it on like a little plinth and make it be like a guy holding a sword and being all, knightly or whatever. But I like this idea of these weird sort of statues with like graffiti on them and stuff like that. That's the last bit that I have to do on the big orange lady, is I need to put a lot of graffiti back, like around, like basically from her knees down where people could reach it, because she's maybe a touch shorter than this guy. And if you look at like, here's a miniature I have. This is what is this? This is a Gray Knight. This is an old school Gray Knight. So yeah, like it's pretty big in comparison. So a person was going to come up and do graffiti, they would basically just be able to do it from the knees down for the most part, unless they brought a ladder or something. So yeah, I don't know. I just think they're interesting pieces. I would make a video about it, but again, I think people wouldn't watch it particularly. I made that video last year about the little LED name tags and how you could do the cool thing with you, and that video did garbage. So I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, it printed just fine. I just got a little, because I was trying to I want to get this done and bring it upstairs to show it people, and then I was like kind of speeding, and then I ripped his head off, but it's fine. Otherwise, everything, like I was concerned when I came down in the basement this morning that maybe it was going to be like it had slid off the plate or something else had gotten all spaghettified or whatever. But yeah, it's fine. It's just I really went overboard on the supports, which is why I think it worked well. But there's just a lot of stuff I'm going to have to, like, there's one support that's going up his spine in between the wings there. Oh, see, I just got that piece off. So there you go. It's easier to get the pieces off with a needle nose pliers though. So, and they'll also have to glue his head back on. Really liked your second Warband in Friday's videos. Well, thanks. Yeah, that was a fun kit bash. Like, did that one, like I said, back in 2024 at Vince's place when we were there for VinceCon. I've got a bunch of I've got more. It's funny too because when I do kit bashing videos, people are like always like, "Oh, I really enjoyed the video" and stuff like that. But again, they just don't get much in the way of views, which whatever. It's fine. Good afternoon from the moistness of Sussex. Time to start to sort some paints and hobby kit for what is next. Nice. How you doing, Nick? Let's see here. Anyone else excited for John, Blanche, and Guard? I'm not. I'm not against it. It's just not, I think, for me. Like a dueling game, I'm like, and the artwork looks cool and stuff like that, but it's not a like time period or whatever that necessarily speaks to me. Like I'm glad that John's involved and is like, I mean, I think he's art directing and stuff like that. I'm super glad that Thomas, who did the rules he's done the rules for tons of things, but including, I want to say Morrowind, but that's a video game. What's the word I'm looking for? Mordheim, duh. He did the rules for Mordheim. He did the rules for Trench Crusade. So it's got, good people behind it. I watched a little bit of Jordan Sorcery's video about it because I'm like, oh, I've not heard about this. I watched a little bit of it and I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's probably not for me. So I'm glad the people that, are into that are going to be able to have that, have access to that. So that's pretty cool. Gross and Nurgly sounds like the cat box. I mean, wow. Hey from Montreal, trying to reorganize the mini display so it fits in the painted stuff better. Nice. Have you seen the British Trench Crusade minis from Hollow Crown? I don't think so, no. I'm excited for the recently announced Mantic Ghost in the Shell game. Would mix well with Cyberpunk too. I heard about that, but I don't know anything. Is it a board game or is it a miniatures game? I'm the type of savage that really likes the version of it with Scarlett Johansson. I've never watched the anime, or if there's a manga, I've never read it. But I liked the movie with Scarlett Johansson, which I'm sure makes me a bad person, but I'm okay with it. Ought to buy another display cabinet instead of more models. Well, Starcraft game is interesting, but the scale is weird. Larger units will be huge. I'd go beyond nuts for a Warcraft tabletop game. Interesting. Recently received my Wargames Atlantic Damned pledge rewards from the GameFound campaign. I pledged for the 5-box early bird special, like 21 free sprues, over 200 minis. I love painting armies. Well, that's pretty cool. Diablo 2 got some figures way back in 2000 with the OGL of 3rd edition D&D. No kidding. Well, that's interesting. I vaguely remember that now that you mention it. At least I remember I don't remember the figures, but I remember there was an RPG. I do remember that. What have you heard about the John Blanche game? Oh, like I said, just the same stuff from that Jordan Sorcery video, I think. That's the other thing, too, that I'm not super into is the fact that they're 54 millimeter models or whatever. I like 28 millimeter. New Fallout starter looks good. Even has tape measure. No kidding. I haven't heard. I didn't know there was a new one. You can definitely have StarCraft skirmish scenarios unless you play Zerg. Then it would be sort of pointless. That was my thought. You know what I mean? Iron Sultanate also really needs a plastic kit ASAP. People struggle to find minis that aren't Europeanish. Yeah, that one's a very specific vibe. You're not wrong. That's definitely a specific vibe, the Sultanate. I found my place with Space Weirdos. Love making 4-man warbands and it plays quick. It's spectacular. It's a great game and I love it. And exactly for that reason too. I've seen the thumbnail for the John Blanche game, but have yet to click and watch. Nice. Rulebook is a work of art. I'm not even mad that it'll get updated sooner or later. Sure. As far as I understand, Engard will be 1 versus 1 54 millimeter scale in like some pirate setting. Yeah, like that's the thing. None of that speaks to me. I'm glad that like I said, I'm happy for them that they're doing it, but it's not something I'd be interested in. Just got my latest Pirate Borg Kickstarter delivered this week. Down Among the Dead and Cabin Fever. Nice. For someone who hasn't been to Adepticon but would like to in the future, do you have any recommendations, tips for a first timer? Adepticon tips for a first timer. In general, you want to definitely bring comfortable shoes. You want to make sure to hydrate, stuff like that. It's it's not the biggest convention I go to, but it's one of the bigger conventions. Um, Generally, these days, it's between 10 and 11,000 people. Um, the biggest convention I go to is, of course, GenCon, which generally these days caps out at 72,000 people. It's crazy. But GenCon is all types of tabletop gaming, not just miniature gaming, whereas Adepticon is pretty much just miniature gaming. GenCon is board gaming, oh, so much board gaming, and role-playing games and Magic and all that stuff, and also to some degree, some miniatures, not that many. Whereas Adepticon is pretty much just tabletop miniature wargaming. I would say that besides like comfortable shoes and things like that, like if you're making it a trip, then it's probably not a bad idea to try to get a hotel room close by. And there are a decent amount of them in the downtown area, but then you really have to be on your game to some degree. And you really have to, like when they announce the opening of like housing, if you want to get a hotel room downtown, you need to know ahead of time when that's going to happen. And they usually publish that stuff like on their website and say, hey, it's coming up in, this date in, whatever. Or, you follow them on Facebook, whatever. Yeah, that kind of stuff is the stuff you probably got to pay real close attention to if you want to get, because otherwise you'll be like probably having to either Uber back and forth from your hotel if it's a bit further away, or driving and then parking, and all that can be a little bit of a hassle, but whatever. If you live closer and you just want to check it out, that's one of the cool things about Adepticon as well, is you technically don't have to pay to get in. You can just walk around and look at stuff. Like if you're kind of a local and you're just like, oh, I want to check it out, and you make it a day trip or whatever. You don't have to go, oh, geez, I got to buy a badge too. You can just walk around. You can go into the vendor hall. You can buy stuff from the vendors and make them happy. All that stuff is totally free. If you want to take some classes, you got to have a badge, and then also to pay for the classes. If you want to play in some tournaments and stuff like that, like those types of events, then you need to have a badge. But if you just want to go check it out, totally do that. It's great. Most conventions aren't like that. Like GenCon for sure. You cannot go into the vendor hall to spend money if you haven't already spent money on a badge. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe it's a security thing. It's probably a security thing, but still, it's a little bit annoying. Let's see here. Was there no Snarl broadcast last couple of Mondays? No, there's been I might have forgotten to update the website. But if you just go to either the YouTube channel, Snarling Badger Studios, or if you just use your phone to listen to the podcast, then yeah, they've been. I might have forgotten to update the website now that I come to think of it. So yeah, but no, that we've been keeping up. New ones tomorrow actually. Let's see here. Where was I? That's a modern gaming concept. The idea of keep 'em buying and declaring a game dead if you don't see something for it every 6 months. The Fletcher Pratt naval game is still workable since the 30s. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is that it's something that the industry has, and by the industry I mainly mean Games Workshop, has basically tried to train people to think, well, if I don't have to completely replace my rules every 3 years, what am I even doing? Come on. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I remember that Kill Team battle report. It was brutal and it gave me a healthy fear of Death Guard. I mean, at the 2018 version of Kill Team, should have been a healthy fear of Death Guard. They were, yeah. And my dice, just that one time. Why can Americans not pronounce the names of the shires? Because it's Gloucestershire, but you say it's Gloucestershire, but that's Glouse. Glous is Glouse, especially if it had an E on the end, because it's like Louse, but with a G in the front of it. I'm just saying. Space Kits is great fun, a hilariously silly skirmish game from the designer of Gaslands. Yep. Drunk space orc fights using dexterity tests. Yep. Drew says, yeah, I ran. Yep, Drew ran Space Kits at TMX, planning to run again along with Gasland, Steel Rift, and something else. Nice. Cobbled together Strike Team Alpha for contemporary miniatures. Nice. I've made statues for my games using minis I know I won't use, like a king on a throne. Yeah, I like I said, this whole concept of using, because like I don't know if you folks have ever used Hero Forge before. It's super cool. Hashtag not sponsored. Boom. So it's web based, right? So you go to heroforge.com and then you can like pick. So this is kind of what the lady looked like. That this is a robot, of course, but if I can find, and there's so many different types of things you can make. I don't even know where the humans are. Minotaur, turtle persons, rat folks, cat people, half dragons, half demons, half halfling, which is I think a quarterling at that point. Bugbears, elementals, dwarves, human. There we go. So minus the hair, I didn't have any hair on her. This is kind of what the statue lady that I printed that's downstairs, and she's holding the sign. But you can do whatever you want. There's so many different crazy different things, and then you could be like, okay, naked orc, cool. Let's give him some clothes. How about this dress? Bang, and or this thing. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that is, but now it's a chaos weird dwarf person, or I mean orc person, and so. There's outfits, there's individual things. You can go, well, yeah, I want them to look like this, but I want them to be wearing high heels, I guess. So we'll do that. There we go. That's what and so you can just keep building and like looking at it and going, well, and you can even pose them a little bit, not a ton. Like there's different positions you can have their like lower parts in, like their legs and stuff. But then you can actually go in and kind of change their arms if a little bit, and you can give them different weapons and stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. And then when you're done, then you can, like I said, they'll either print it and send it to you, or you can get the STL yourself. They do have a tendency to need a lot of supports, though, if you're going to print them FDM, or even if you're going to print them resin, obviously. And if you print them resin, they don't come supported, so you're going to have to support them yourself, I'm pretty sure. So there's that too. But it's like a really great way to do weird statues and things like that you might want to print. And like I said, it's relatively inexpensive. It's like $8 to get the STL, and then you just print it on your FDM printer, and then boom, cool statue that you can do. And like I said, I've blown mine up. The lady one that's down in the basement is blown up 400%. This skeleton guy is blown up 450%. You could go lower than that to some degree, obviously, as well, if you wanted to. So it's but it's a neat system. Like, it's expensive if you were going to try to do an army this way. Well, if you were going to print them yourself, it's not that expensive. Like an entire army, yes, but like a skirmish warband, if you were paying $8 per model and then having to 3D print it or have your friend 3D print it, that's not terrible. I mean, GW models cost considerably more than $8 in many situations. And then you could get very specific. What Hero Forge was really designed for was for, I need to design my character for D&D or whatever, which is why there are so many zillions of different species. Centaur? Sure, why not? You know what I mean? Now we have this Chaos Centaur lady who could be holding a sign. I don't know. It's just, so yeah, there's a lot of different options here for things that you can do. And it's really interesting. Supports the bane of my existence. Yeah, I get that. I like the video of the name tags, and I really enjoyed the concept of using dissimilar components for cool near future sci-fi. Cyberpunk has always been neon soaked. Yeah, I thought that one with the signs, with the sci-fi signs, the little name tag things, I thought that video was going to do really well, because I was like, this is a really cool concept, and I think that this is going to, and it just, I don't know, but it's fine. I think people looked at it and were either like, well, I'm not making cyberpunk terrain or sci-fi terrain, but it'll work for either. So, I think that people just sometimes don't watch a video because they're like, well, I mean, it totally makes sense. Oh, well, that's not for me. That's fine. I kind of thought at the time that it was going to be a little bit more for people, but it's fine. Again, like the worst thing is when you get very little views and then people in the comments are like, I don't know, man. And that's a real bummer. But when you get like views that are not necessarily stellar, they're fine. But you then get like a lot of people in the comments who are like, this is very cool, you should do more of this, this is great, then you know you're hitting the right people. And that's really kind of the important part, I think, honestly. At least I feel like it. You know, if you're just trying to chase views all the time, well, I've got some bad news. It's not always going to work. Let's see here. Kit bashing videos are just the worst. Nah, I like them. I get you. Morning, Uncle Adam. I want to let you know we converted a local kill team tournament to OPR. The community is growing in upstate New York thanks to you. Ever try Gang Wars? That's next. I printed it out and we haven't played it yet, but I do have it. I do like the concept of Gang Wars because I love the concept of Necromunda, but not the rules. There's at least 3 or 4 Necromunda books back there too, and it's so deep, and it's way too deep, and I'm just not. But I love the models, obviously, because I owned a ton of the models I use them for kit bashing, as I mentioned in the video, not this week, but last week. And they're great models for that. I honestly think Necromunda is some of the best models that GW makes. And I will take your messages off air. Let's see here. Painting up zombies, drinking Diet Cokes. Nice. OnePageRules is going to be a vendor at TMX again. So Jefferson from OnePageRules, aka Param. He messaged me, sent me an email, and was like, "Hey, I want to come again and do the thing." And he says they're probably going to have stuff to sell, actually, because they're going to have the Broken Truth, the big honkin' 2-player army box for Grimdark Future with the robot legions and the space lizards or whatever. He says he's going to be bringing some of those along to sell. So that's cool because they've been to TMX multiple times before, but they've never had anything to sell technically because they do everything online for the most part. So this will be cool. He'll be running demos and things like that, like he did the last several years. Let's see here. Speaking of display, I've seen round display badge on Amazon, cheapish, $30. Apparently easy to use display. Oh, hang on. This thing right here. It came in this weird. I don't know what the heck this is. It's like a picture frame, but it's like flexible, and then you can pinch stuff inside of it. You just open it up. But yeah, this is a let go. Oh, it's a yeah, I'm gonna have to take this off. There's like a lanyard, but and there's a pin which I'm gonna have to fix too. But yeah, it is a wait, how do I turn it on? There we go. So yeah, it's a little LED screen, and you can put pictures on it. You can put JPEG or animated GIFs on it. I think you maybe put really super short videos on it, stuff like that. And you're right, it was like $33 or whatever on Amazon. And I'm planning on putting it like in the side of a piece of terrain. Like when I design a piece of terrain, I'm going to make a hole that's just that size and then put it in there, and then I can have little billboards and crap on there. I don't know. I just like all that kind of stuff. It's stupid, but I like it. But yeah, so yeah, I actually Panny Mauser mentioned it to me. She's like, "Hey, have you seen this?" and sent me a message on Discord, and then I went and bought one on Amazon, and it showed up earlier this week. So yeah, those little LED name tags cost about $18. This is a little expensive. It's like $33. And then I have this thing. Is this plugged in? No. Why is it not plugged in? Oh no, it is plugged in. There's this thing, which is also programmable with like an app and everything like that. People buy these and they put them in their car windows, and they're flexible. And they're also full color like this too. and this was like $24 maybe. So my plan is to, and I've already got a sketch done, and I just need to like make it in the 3D software and stuff like that and everything, and then do some measurements for sure. But my plan is to put it on the corner of a building, like make the building have a curve to it instead of a sharp corner, and have it like up on the second floor, and then be able to kind of stick this to the inside of the building and have a hole cut for it, and then have this thing, and then I can program it to say stuff other than just cool LED or whatever. But yeah, and then have that in the piece of terrain too. Eventually, like, how do I turn it off? Oh, press and hold. Eventually, I want to have a really cool cyberpunk / sci-fi type board that's got a lot of lighting stuff going on. And I'm very interested in that concept. I bought a package of these tea lights, these electric tea lights, and they're just like little LED tea lights, and then you can pull off the housing, and then you just got yourself a little electric thing. Now, normally tea lights, they flicker and they're like fire colored, but for some reason, people also sell them so they don't flicker and they're daylight balanced. So this is just a little, daylight balanced thing, and so you could just throw this inside and have like light up the inside of a building, a piece of terrain or whatever. But I also bought some 6mm acrylic rod, and then when you put this in there, like I don't know, it's kind of bright in here, so you won't notice it. If it was dark, you'd see that this thing lights up, not quite like a lightsaber, but it lights up a bit by putting this light, right up against the end of the thing here, right? So the idea is to cut this short and have it like sticking out of a building, and then put one of these behind it, and then it's like a light up thing. And it's like a rainbow pack of these things, and there's like all kinds of different colors and stuff. So basically buying this, I have all the acrylic rod, all the acrylic 6mm rod I'm ever going to need for the rest of my life, most likely. And that was, I don't know, $20 maybe. So I've been kind of, putting all these different pieces together, working on these like statues and all this kind of stuff. And I've been printing buildings, and I've been painting buildings. I just airbrushed, I primed a building this week, just before it got weird and snowy. And it's a 2-story building, a cyberpunk building from the folks at Corvus Games Terrain. And that's going to be a really cool part of the table as well. So yeah, I'm like just basically putting all these parts together, and it's not going to happen in time for this Adepticon, but I think it would be super fun for next Adepticon because I'm not going to have to go on a plane, obviously. It's an hour-and-a-half drive. I could bring either a 2x2 or a 3x3 table or, board, and have all my stuff on it, all my cyberpunk stuff. So that's kind of my plan for 2027, is to be at that point, but we'll see how it works out. But yeah, that's just been kind of my like overall overreaching sort of vibe lately, is trying to make like a cool cyberpunk / sci-fi. And that's the thing too, is I'm like, if you do it right, it's very easy to just alternate back and forth between sci-fi and cyberpunk. The trick is that if you want to go sci-fi, to not go Warhammer sci-fi, skulls and gothic and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think the Gundam Assemble wargame is due out this spring. That's going to throw a monkey wrench into a lot of hobby plans. I don't think I'm interested. I don't know. I'm not into Gundams too much. I still have 2 of them I need to build potentially for Chrome Rangers. I mean, I already have 2 robots for Chrome Rangers. Well, you can't really see them. On the top of this display thing, you can see the legs of one and the legs of the other one. They're in the Chrome Rangers. There's pictures of them in the Chrome Rangers zine, but they're up there. You can't really see them, though, in the shot. But they're just 3D printed, cool robots that I did. And I bought some 30-minute missions models, but I still haven't put them together yet. I don't know. Maybe I should do that this week. Maybe that's something I make a video about. Boom. Hop on that Gundam View train. It's a year late. I think that's a good idea. Afternoon from Scotland, busy painting pikemen for Epic Pike and Shot. Would you vibe more with On Guard if it was sci-fi duelists, a la Infinity Sci-Fi Samurai? I think the problem is, honestly, it's more the scale and also the duelist part. Well, maybe not that duelist part. I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. Because, I mean, technically, if we're going to get down to brass tacks, Chrome Rangers is kind of a duel game. It's just that you're big, stompy robots and you have missile launchers and stuff like that. But, you know, it's still one-on-one, Chrome Rangers is. So, you know, I don't know. I think that it's a combination of things that makes me go, eh. And that's, you know, but again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't think it's for me is the trick, right? I received some Wargames Atlantic minis this week. Nice models. They make good stuff. I like them a lot. Ghost in the Shell comment has me mortified, terrified, petrified, and appalled. I get it. I totally get it. I only ever find out about local gaming conventions afterwards. Oh, yeah. New Fallout starters are going to feature, excuse me, a whole new range of excellent plastics. I watched the Modifius podcast last night. They were showing them off. Great super mutant sprues. Nice. Beware of con crud. Stock up on vitamin C. It's not. You're not wrong. Yeah. Let's see here. So there we go. Good morning from Phoenix. How you doing, Tiffany? I got a 12:01 p.m. time for housing for GenCon this year. Nice work. Wow. I got 4:43 p.m. But I'm on a media badge, and I have a very strong suspicion that if you're on a media badge, you're not part of the random. They just go, I don't know, sometime after 4, and it's fine. Because I've never, ever gotten a time that wasn't at least 4 o'clock or later. It's insanely cool that you can get to Adepticon without a badge. Yeah, absolutely. Can you imagine how many people would go to GenCon to just wander the vendor hall if they could do it for free? I mean, I suppose that's probably, yeah. What was/is the greatest lost/dead game? I really liked the Batman miniature game, and though Space Hulk should be constantly available. Space Hulk should be always available. I've been saying it for years. One of my earliest videos, way back in the dark ages of me making videos, was about how why don't they make this game all the time? Why is it not available all the time? It's mind-blowing. And like the crazy thing is that video's got to be probably 12 years old. I will be the anniversary of the channel comes up at the beginning of March, so a week away is the 13th anniversary of me with this channel producing it, you know, and putting the stuff out. Like technically, the YouTube account for this channel started in like 2009, but the early videos were just like me screwing around or whatever and stuff like that. Me being like, hey, I'm going to start my own YouTube channel about wargaming started in March of 2013. So I'm on the 13-year anniversary coming up next week or whatever. Well, not week after. Anyway, was it 2014 was the last time that they made Space Hulk? I think it was 2014 is when they came up with 4th edition, and they haven't touched it since. And I'm like, I don't understand. I really never do. I love you, but Gloucestershire. I don't know what that means. I mean, I get that. Gloucestershire. I don't Gloucester. I don't know. Anyway, we have cities here in Wisconsin that are Native American names, and a lot of them are difficult to like Oconomowoc. A lot of people look at that and go, Oconomowoc. There you go. Anyway, no one in the UK can complain on pronouncing names until they can say Schenectady. Is that right? Did I say it right? I don't know if I said it right. I've been trying to finish a trio of metal demonettes from the mid-90s. Well, that's, I mean, you know. Please tell me Hero Forge has fishmen. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Why don't I clonk the microphone a little bit more with my mouse and see? Frogman. Giggle Dog. What the heck is a Giggle Dog? Well, let's just do a search for fish. There's mermen. That's not the same thing. Fish. Aquatic humanoid or merfolk. mean, basically, it's just a person with weird ears. I don't see gills or anything like that, or I don't know. That's not exactly. It's not exactly what we're looking for, I don't think. I mean, the fishman should have the big honking eyes and the fish face is what they, but that's not quite it. Well, what are you going to do? Let's see here. Just switched to Grimdark Future Firefight from Kill Team and was happily surprised. It's a great game. Having more fun with Grimdark Future Firefight, I can print my own minis and terrain. Also awesome. How are you feeling about Of Oil and Iron? I've not heard of it. This is the first I've heard of it. Giant mech skirmish game. I've not heard of it. Of Oil and Iron. Is it like a not cyber diesel punk kind of game or a steampunk kind of game, or is it like high sci-fi kind of mech shenanigans? I made use of Hero Forge to make the minis for Volleyball and then linked them from the itch site too. Oh, that's cool. Question out of left field: was your favorite Cyberpunk movie or show? Probably Blade Runner. The both of them, honestly. I've watched Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 within the last 2 weeks, I think. I rewatched them again. Blade Runner, specifically the final cut, it's great, but I can understand why at the time people are like, what am I looking at? Like they had no clue. I just find it so amazing that basically the guy that made Blade Runner then eventually made Prometheus. Because, oh, God, Prometheus is just, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking movie. There's no problem there. Cinematography, special effects, visual effects, all that stuff's awesome. The design, everything's great. But, man, the story is just doesn't make any damn sense. And so, what are you going to do? But yeah, I would say it's probably Blade Runner, which I know is it's kind of a standard thing, but it's pretty awesome. You should take a look at Eldritch Foundry too. It's basically just like Hero Forge but different art assets. I've heard of it. I've seen their booth at like GenCon and stuff, I think, but I don't know that I've messed with it much. Space Hulk needs to be an evergreen offering. Yep. On shelves at Walmart. I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm punching out a bunch of Legions of Steel counters to add to the base set right now. There are some hallmarks of 90s miniature games I don't miss, and all the counters is high on that list. Yeah. Tons of counters really turns me off on a game, miniatures game. Case in point, nearly everything from Atomic Mass games. I'm not saying you can't have any, but I think too many becomes a problem. I do love the Irish Trench Crusade subfaction called the Erie Rangers. Huh. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Actually, advanced posing in Hero Forge, you can move them all over the place. You got to find the right pull-down menu. I found it for the arms and the head and stuff like that, but I don't know if you can do it for the legs. Maybe you can. I plan to use Hero Forge to work on model concepts for other board games too. It's good space to bash out concepts. Yeah, I can see that. Will Prance for Oats. Nice. I remember hearing about people who made their whole Trench Crusade warband on Hero Forge when the game first came out. It's neat for kit bashing. I can see that. Yeah. I hope they don't reissue Space Hulk this year. It would throw my budget and hobby plans into chaos. Oh my goodness. Just signed up for the Hero Forge subscription. $20 a month for 5 STL files. Really helps with prototyping minis for a few of the games I'm working on. Interesting. Yeah. Your gray-headed Space Marines are definitely on my emulate list, so keep the kit bash videos coming. Nice. When you said gray-headed, I thought you meant like they had gray hair, but you mean like alien gray-headed? Gotcha. Yeah, they're fun. They're a lot of fun. Black Grail is a blast to paint. Most of the Lord of Tumors and the Amalgam are especially fun. So much gross fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to messing with a bunch of like weird paint like techniques. Like a lot of that Villainy Inc. stuff that I've got, I think would be great for the Black Grail in general. I'm old school. I watch every episode of Tabletop Minions. It's very nice of you. Same tabletop time and same tabletop channel. You're not wrong. I definitely. So when I started the channel almost 13 years ago, the videos were kind of random as far as when I put them up. And then in late October, I think, of 2015, I decided, you know what? I should put them up every Friday at 2 a.m. That's just because I kind of did. I looked around and I'm like, well, 2 a.m., it's like 8 a.m. in the UK. So people would just be getting up and whatever. And so that's fine. We're not missing those folks. But then by the time the people in America get up, it's also, already ready to go and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I did the time when I did. And it since, well, like I said, late October of 2015, I haven't missed an episode. It's been every Friday at 2 a.m. Hello from Northeast Texas. How you doing? I love Necromunda, but the rules require some heavy lifting. I mean, the books require some heavy lifting. Jesus. Are you going to be at Adepticon? Yes, I will be there. I'll get there sometime on Wednesday, shortly after lunch, probably. That sounds about right. Probably shortly after lunch. It's a 90-minute drive, so yeah, it's not too bad. So I'll be there, and I will leave sometime Monday morning. So I'll be there for a good long time. I will be in the booth. I will be in the Army Painter booth on and off. I will publish the times when I know them. I'll put them up on probably the Facebook and also Blue Sky. When we see a Trench Crusade bat rep between you and Vince. Ugh, well, I mean, Vince lives in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm over here in the middle of Wisconsin, so we're about 9.5 hours apart by car. If I bring my stuff to VinceyCon, we still probably won't film a battle report at VinceyCon. We should, maybe, but I doubt we will. I don't know, it's maybe something. Hard to say. Listening while grocery shopping at Woodman's. Nice. When is TMX? It is the 13th and 14th of June. Let me go to the website. TMX. Wait, I can't just type in TMX. Tabletop Minions Expo. There we go. Bang. There we go. So yes, Tabletop Minions Expo 2026, June 13th and 14th, Oshkosh Convention Center, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I need to reach out to people who want to teach classes this year. Probably Sam, probably Vince, maybe somebody else as well. And these are last year's classes that are described, but the classes we have to sell online because there's only 16 seats in the class, and so they'll sell out. So we have to not just be like, oh, show up and try to get in a class. Why not? We sell those online when we do it. But the event schedule, and currently there's only really 2 events, but there's some that I have to put on. I just haven't gotten a chance to do it. Probably not going to get a chance to do it today because I got to edit the podcast after I get back from the birthday party, and it's a whole thing. Yeah, the events will go here, and then also we'll have the housing link with the housing group rate thing coming up soon. And there's a second vendor now, like I said before. OnePageRules is going to be a vendor as well. But yeah, if you just go to tabletopminions.org/TMX, you can find out about it. It's small. I want you guys to know, if you're thinking about coming, last year we had 100 people. It is very tiny. It's not fancy business, but we have a good time, and you just come and you learn games. It's all about demos. There's no tournaments. There's no contests. There's door prizes, but there's no it's about sitting down and learning, and someone runs a game and you learn to play it and you play it for free and stuff like that. The event badge, Saturday badge costs $18. Sunday badge costs $12. Weekend badge costs $30, which is 18 plus 12. But then you also get 2 extra door prize tickets. So then you get 4 door prize tickets instead of just 2, 1 for each day. So anyway, yeah. Yeah. And tickets you don't have to buy online. It's just, you just show up and you buy them right there at the door. So it's great. But yeah, that's TMX coming up 13th and 14th of June. Going to play my second game of Space Station Zero this afternoon in about 2 hours. Nice. Let's see here. Another great tabletop mini game from that era was Silent Death. Oh yeah, I used to play Silent Death. We actually worked with people and ran it at conventions. We would help run it at GenCon. Me and my friend Peter, we would go down to GenCon when it was still in Milwaukee, and we would volunteer with a group of people that would run demos from Ottawa. They were called the Ottawa Red Shirts, and they would run a lot of Silent Death. Silent Death was a spaceship combat miniatures game made by Iron Crown Enterprises back in the day. I think Iron Crown Enterprises is technically back in business, but I don't know if they make Silent Death anymore. Greetings from Denmark, finishing building some modular Trench Crusade table while listening. Nice. I love these kind of things. Adding screens to terrain makes it so much more lively. I mean, it's not something you can really do with fantasy terrain. I mean, I've seen people, there are plastic, like 3D printable portals that you can slide your phone inside and then have it run like a video that looks like all glowy and weird. And then you'd be like, hey, look at that cool portal and stuff like that. But that's about the best thing you can do in fantasy terrain. But for sci-fi terrain, there's all kinds of weird little screens and crap you can integrate into it, make it look cool, you know, lights and stuff. My friend Raven, he does amazing terrain building. He taught some classes at TMX last year about terrain building. And he goes on to Amazon and finds those little lights that you attach to your book so you can read in the dark, the little LED like battery things and whatever. And you clip it to a book, and then he kind of takes them apart a little bit, and then he turns them into like light poles on his like Necromunda boards and stuff like that. He grunges them all up and puts, wraps wires around them to make them look. And then it's just, it looks kind of like a light pole, but it's just a book, like a book light book, from Amazon, and it costs $12 or whatever. And so it just cool stuff like that, I think, is really, really neat. Times Square zombie board. Oh, with the lights. Oh, yeah, I get you. Hamilton Road Gaming Group was great for that. We played everything from Starfleet battles, Battletech, wooden ships. Oh, that's cool. Oh, dear. Where are we at here? Battle report on the Cyberpunk table when it's complete? Potentially, maybe. Side note, USA beat Canada for the gold. No kidding. In men's hockey? No kidding. Wow. Is the Olympics still actually going? The question is curling still going? Like every time my wife turns on the television and goes to look at anything that is Olympic, it's generally curling. And I'm like, how much curling are we doing here? This is astounding. Yeah. First demo of Trench Crusade was at TMX last year. Love it. Working on my armored train terrain today. Neat. Well, that's cool. Anything planned for the anniversary? I don't know. That's a good question. I should honestly think about it. Anyone interested? There's a good Kickstarter running at the moment. VHS Fantasy Vault. STLs for a bunch of 80s IPs. It's not wargaming, but my favorite dead game is Spellfire. Oh, yeah. The card game. Right. It was kind of attached to D&D, wasn't it, maybe? Giggle Dog is Hyena. No kidding. I guess that makes sense. I thought it was Dingo for some reason, but no, Giggle Dog makes more sense for Hyena. Sad thing is Space Hulk uses 40k units. They shouldn't have to put too much effort into making the board. And I mean, to be fair, the models are the old models, though cool, were different sculpts. They weren't the sculpts that you would use in normal 40k because they had differently integrated bases and stuff like that and all that jazz. But still, yeah. Hero Forge fails the Fishman test. Well, Blade Runner's movies are underrated by most, in my opinion. I agree. Like, I was so excited about 2049 coming out when it did, and I was bummed but not surprised when it was amazing, but it didn't do numbers. It didn't, like, Dune did way better for him than 2049 did it, but I think 2049 is a spectacular movie. Just crazy good. Blade Runner story is also super thin. It's just beautiful, wonder-inducing, and engaging. It's it's thinner than the new one for sure, but still it's not as dumb. There's a difference between dumb and thin, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in the theater watching Prometheus and watching Charlize Theron and the other lady whose name I forget. I don't remember her name. And they're in spacesuits and they're running away from this ship that is rolling towards them. And I'm just thinking, go left, go right, turn. Just, would you, one direction? What are you doing? Why are you running straight? You know, and it's just, and like when the guy took his helmet off and when the guy got very close to the weird alien snake and like just everything, like and I've said this for many years, Prometheus could have been explained very easily at the end of the movie if they would have somehow showed you that during the cryosleep when they flew out to the planet that something had malfunctioned and everybody got freezer burned and their brains didn't work properly when they got there. Because these are supposed to be the best and the brightest. He's spending $1 trillion on this project to fly to this planet and all this stuff and everything and yada, yada, yada. And they seem like the dumbest people alive when they get there. You know what I mean? And just like everything about it, like they get to the planet and they immediately find the thing they're looking for without even scanning. They're like, oh, there it is. And they're like, well, we should maybe wait for this storm. Like you flew however many light years and you decide, no, let's land during the storm. Let's start searching right away. Let's like you don't want to run scans. You don't want to like wait till tomorrow. Like, there's so much about that movie that was disappointing. Anyway. Love a good rewatch combined with YouTube breakdown video. Recently I watched American Psycho. Oh yeah. Johnny Mnemonic is a bit of a diamond in the rough, very Cyberpunk 2025. Yeah. Ever read Neuromancer? Oh yeah, for sure. Neuromancer, Count Zero, Mona Lisa Overdrive. That's the trilogy. Evidently on Apple TV, or Apple Plus or whatever it's called, there's a Neuromancer show that's going to be coming out maybe this year. I don't know exactly when it's coming out, but there's going to be a Neuromancer show, which might be cool. We watched the Foundation TV show on Apple, and that's been good. There's been a bunch of good stuff on Apple that we've been like, that's pretty good. So, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic on the Neuromancer TV show, but we'll see how it goes. Cyberpunk is basically future noir to me. I honestly think Cyberpunk is basically just the future. Like, when you go, which future do you think is going to happen? The 40K one or the Cyberpunk one? I always say the Cyberpunk one. Just rewatched Johnny Mnemonic at the gym. Definitely shows its age. Oh, for sure. I mean, like when he's like talking about how much storage he's got like in his head to carry this stuff around or whatever. I'm like, oh, I've got I think I paid, I don't know, $20 for like a 32 gig, SD micro card I could have hidden in my nose. Probably it would have been a lot easier, but whatever, What do you mean biological scientists wouldn't mess with unknown alien things, but at least proper protection? I'm just saying. I was designing a Skirmish miniatures game, but my vision for it ended up being better as a video game. How do you trim to stay as a Skirmish game? I'm sure Rain in Hell was like this. It's all about, and we talk about this on the podcast, on the Snarlcast. It's all about sticking to your initial design document. Like you come up with like, this is what my design is going to be. And for us, like on Rain in Hell, it was literally like 5 phrases, maybe, or maybe even 5 words. It was like demonic skirmish, like brutal, fast, demonic skirmish, battle, melee, that kind of stuff. So when we were like, well, should we put in guns? No, because it's not part of the thing. Should we do this? No, because it's not part of the, and so you start off with this thing, this document, and go, this is the thing. And then anything that you think about adding to it and tweaking it and expanding it, you go, because otherwise you'll never ship is what's going to happen. If you constantly are like scope creep and trying to add more stuff to it, you'll eventually get to a point where you're just like, whenever we talk to somebody who comes up or talks to us about the game that they're working on, they're like, yeah, I've been working on it for like 5 years. Then it's either like, well, it's either because you've got so many other things going on. You got like a family and you got jobs and you got this and that. And I understand that. Or you probably should have shipped it a while ago. And by ship, I don't mean like start a company and go through it, but like have it finished so you could at least show it to people. You know what I mean? Because if you just keep adding and tweaking, you'll never finish. So it's best to start with limitations almost basically right from the get and then don't go over them. If it turns out you come up with cool ideas, maybe that's an expansion you make, or maybe you don't. You know what I mean? Like if you just keep adding things, you'll never get to the end. The novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which inspired Blade Runner, was extremely good. Definitely political if dated. Well, sure. Yeah. Good old Philip K. Dick. I wish Lost Patrol was available more often. I love how insanely difficult it is. I'm trying to remember if I have a copy of that somewhere. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Only half listening. I get that. But it's nice to hear someone else have some love for Legions of Steel. I don't know that I'm familiar with Legions of Steel. I've used both Goons Grime and Carrion Crimson for my Black Grail units. Love how it helps the grimy look. I bought the initial set when they first came out. They had like not a Kickstarter. They basically had their own kind of crowdfunding. And I backed that. And then when the stuff came out, I got an initial selection of colors. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. The ones that I thought looked cool. And so, yeah. William Pepsi Jacques, how you doing? Timing of Friday videos is great. They normally go up when I'm driving to the city for work. Then I get to watch in the car park before I head to the club. Nice. To the club. My favorite restaurant is now in the 3D street market near Baird. Oh, third, not 3D. In the third street market near Baird. Yeah. It's called Sap Sap if you like Lao Fusion. Best egg rolls ever. No kidding. Nice. I think that's the old... what the heck was the name of that plaza? Grand Plaza or whatever. It was like it was a mall, wasn't it? Isn't that the old mall? And now it's like just a food court basically. We went there last year and it was just rocked. It was like you couldn't we basically had to find the place that had the shortest possible line because everything else was just like they were getting slammed and they did not. I don't think they expected what was going to happen. This happened at GenCon when GenCon moved to Indianapolis. The first year GenCon moved to Indianapolis, all the restaurants in the area were like, oh my God, what did you do? Because they just didn't expect that many nerds who want to eat that much to show up all at once. And then since they have definitely understood the assignment and it's much better. So hopefully the folks at the at that food mart thing will ramp up and have a couple more people on staff or something. Cause yeah, it was a bummer, but that does sound good. I want to go there. Today's project is making coffee. And if it warms up, yard work. If the coffee warms up, oh wait, I see. Let's see here. Greetings from Indianapolis, working on a diorama for War Machine. Nice. Best part of TMX is the size, hanging out with other minions in the pub crawl before/after. Yeah, usually on Saturday night, it's not so much a pub crawl as it is that we go to a bar. But we did walk there. And now it's closer, because back when the TMX was at the university, it was a much longer walk to get to the Reptile Palace. Now, it's a shorter walk from the convention center, because they're both downtown. So... I was wanting to play Necromunda, but the book investment is insane. Gang models aren't bad, though. The gang models are awesome. But yeah, you're right. The book thing is silly. Oops. Let's see here. Have you ever played Burrows and Badgers? No, I haven't. I've heard of it. When organizing my home, I found a box of unbuilt terrain, 8 Reaper shipping container blisters, and the Reaper, like Reaper minis. Yeah, the shipping containers. Those are really nice. The 10 foots and the 20 foots. I've got some of those too. They're not actually that long. It's to scale. A Wall of Martyrs Imperial Bunker. It was like finding treasure. Definitely the containers. Those containers are real nice. Greetings from the UK, working on a Stargrave crew for a game at my local club tomorrow evening. Nice. Love Necromunda, but too fussy and expensive. Started playing Blackout, didn't really need to change the terrain. Also true. Yeah, I can see that. Winter Olympics is just different stuff sliding about. I mean, you're not wrong. Curling started before the opening ceremony and will go until just before the closing ceremony. I thought it would be like, you were going to say it was like hockey, where the hockey season is like 16 months long. But it sounds like it, though. Oil and Iron is a diesel punk post-apocalyptic skirmish game set in a world dominated by corporations. So now then. The rule set is tight and mechanics are exceptionally well done. I'll take a look at it. Blood Angels being on the cover for 11th brings me hope that Space Hulk is coming. Is that supposed to be the case? Is that the Blood Angels are going to be on the 11th? I mean, they're going to announce 11th, I'm sure, at Adepticon. Unless they don't, but I'd be astounded if they didn't. 3 years ago, when everybody was like, it was so crazy because we were sitting there for the presentation at Adepticon, and it's, you know, it's the March before the summer of 10th edition, and we're all sitting there and they're like talking about, oh, look at this thing, look at that thing, whatever. And then they're like, okay, well, now we're going to do a Q&A and whatever and everything. And people were like, oh, I guess they're not announcing it. And people just started getting up. It's like when people go to a Marvel movie and then as soon as the credits start, they get up and start. I'm like, you know, there's going to be more. Where are you going? And so people literally started to just get up and leave. And the guy in the mic was like, yeah, we'll have questions and answers probably about something kind of important that's coming out this summer. Well, I'm like, well, maybe you guys shouldn't have teased like that. But nonetheless, then they basically were like, oh, yeah, by the way, 10th edition. And then they talked about 10th edition and whatever. So, yeah, I guess they could go through Adepticon this year and not talk about it. That would be weird, but it's unlikely. I worked for Denis Villeneuve last year. Really nice fellow. Oh, good. That's pretty cool. Blade Runner 2049 was an excellent sequel to the original, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. Blood and Necrons versus Nids. What? Everyone in Prometheus acted like they had eaten a big bowl of stupid. I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think if they just would have explained at the end of the movie that maybe, what's his name there? Walter or Michael or David? David, I don't know. Whatever, the android. Like if he'd just been screwing with the electrics and like gave them all freezer burn, then it would be like, oh, well, that makes sense. Now I get it. Prometheus was the classic Dungeons and Dragons intelligence versus wisdom problem in movie form. Yeah. Prometheus is much improved with the yakety sax. That's the soundtrack. Nice. Osprey did a game called Reality's Edge. Not sure if it's good, but it's Cyberpunk. Yeah, it's done by not Joe McCullough, but Joseph McGuire, who did a game that was basically the Fallout miniatures game before the Fallout miniatures game. He made a game called This Is Not a Test, which was riding the line of basically kind of being Fallout, but not quite. And then, but yeah, and then he did Reality's Edge. I own it somewhere. It's maybe just for me personally, because I don't know, it's just a little dense. Not too bad. Osprey will make some stuff sometimes you're just like, wow, that is very dense. That's more than we needed by half. Reality's Edge I don't feel is that bad, really. Covenant wasn't great either, quite forgettable. Yeah. Let's see. If a game doesn't have counters, tokens, bespoke measuring tools, and multiple kinds of specialized dice, I'm not playing it. All right, well, that's fine. I have a brother who likes to brag about his PhD, and yet he's all conspiracy theories when it comes to simple living. Interesting. Cyberpunk is our near future, maybe 40K one day after we create the Men of Iron. Wow. When AI gets robot avatars, then we'll see some serious... I mean, maybe. I imagine an AI who's made a lot of money in crypto buying themselves a body and touring our planet. I mean, that'd be sort of fun. Did they drop OnlyGames? Are we talking about Trench Crusade? Basically, they're using multiples now. So it's not hang on. Wait, website button. There we go. If you go to shop, poke, and you scroll down, and you want to get some resin miniatures, they have choose your region. So it's not just the one group. Like they still have OnlyGames doing like a lot of stuff, but then if you're in the, you could also go with Dungeon Artifacts in the USA, or Zealot Miniatures in the UK, or Mindworks in the EU. And then if you wanted to go to OnlyGames, so they're splitting it up amongst multiple companies. Initially, when they launched, if you didn't have a 3D printer and you still wanted the 3D printed models, you could order them through OnlyGames. And it was part of the Kickstarter, which went way bigger than they thought it was going to by a lot, like a lot. And OnlyGames was basically overwhelmed. And so there was a lot of complaints about how long it was taking, and sometimes the models would show up and they wouldn't be properly cured, and it was just, it was set up to fail. As soon as I saw that they hit $3 million on the Kickstarter, I was like, that's going to be tough to get that many models printed. So I just ordered the STLs because I had my friend Dave print them for me, and that's cool. But relatively recently, after OnlyGames has been basically kind of swamped, they finally now are working with a couple different other companies. So there's other companies to work with if you want to get the stuff printed, if you don't have the ability to print the stuff yourself. Or you just buy the plastics, but the plastics are currently only for the Prussians and, so on. I'm so glad they've made their website better too. Like that happened in 2025, but previous to that, I was just like, ugh, this website's troublesome, and now it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Rumors it's Blood Angels versus Orcs. Ugh. Grand Avenue, that's the mall. Yeah, it was Grand Avenue Mall that they now have turned into basically a food court. It's a huge fan. Excuse me. It's a huge fan of Aliens, etc. I took Prometheus as a personal insult. I mean, I don't know. Bros and Badgers is great. Playing a campaign right now. It's like Mordheim, but everyone's a woodland critter. Gotcha. Necromunda Community Edition, based on the OG version, is great. Get to use all the new models, but a superior, in my opinion, old school and clean game. Interesting. Standing rumor is the 11th edition Marines will be Blood Angels in the art, but the models are just generic Marines. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, I suppose. I'm excited for Orcs in 11th. Never got into them, but they're incredibly fun. There's a lot of scratch building, sure. You can do a lot of cool kit bashing and stuff with Orcs. They're probably the most kit bashery of the types. All I want in 40K 11th is blast templates and scatter dice. I don't think that's going to happen, but you should look at Horus Heresy. It was stuck in my head. Horus Heresy. They still, I think, use that stuff, right? Every time I rolled sustained fire dice, a jam invariably came up, but I loved it anyways. Yeah. Late for the show, but I still wish you all a wonderful Sunday from a cloudy but very comfy St. Jerome, Quebec. Nice. Good to see you. Played Orcs mostly in 2nd edition 40K. My pet hate was plasma missiles. I don't think I'm familiar with plasma missiles, but I didn't play back in 2nd edition. I didn't start playing 40K until 5th edition. And then I was Tau for a while, and then I got tired of Tau because you couldn't really do a lot of cool converting and kit bashing with them too much. So then I started doing Cast Space Marines, and then I started building Black Templar, and then the Black Templar no longer had their own book, and they just folded them into the Space Marine Codex in like 6th edition or 7th, which ticked me off. And then 7th edition I just didn't play. I played it like once or twice, and I hated the new rules, and then I didn't play at all. I started playing other stuff, all during 7th edition. And then when 8th edition came out, I liked the rules again, and I started building and I liked the Primaris models, and so I built a force of Primaris guys, and then they changed the rules a bunch, and then Then I was playing with my Chaos, but I didn't ever finish the Primaris guys. I just recently dug up the Primaris models last year, and I'm going to turn them into a Prime Brothers force for OnePageRules. So because I already have 1,000-point force painted of robot legions for OnePageRules for Grimdark Future, and I'm slowly working on the lizards. I kind of stalled on the lizards because I was painting them on Twitch, and now I'm painting other stuff on Twitch, and I need to get back to the lizards. But those two forces are 1,000-point lists, and they're the ones that come from the Broken Truth box, which is the big box that OnePageRules is going to start selling of, miniatures that are already all in there. You don't have to like 3D print them, or you don't even have to really build them. Some of them you have to build. Some of them are big enough that they come in multiple parts, but most of the standard models are single piece, and they're great. But to add to that, I also went through and basically did army list with the Primaris models that I already had. And I made not only a 1,000-point list with the Primaris models I had, but then I built like 3 more Stern Guard, I guess. I think they're Stern Guard. Well, Stern Guard models. I built 3 of them to turn them into like veteran dudes or whatever. And then I can also now even make a 2,000-point list, but I haven't started painting them yet. I've got a design figured out. I took a picture of one of the black and white, or one of the gray models, unpainted, turned it black and white, brought it into Photoshop, started messing with colors. I think I have my design that I want to do. So yeah, I kind of basically tested it ahead of time and pre-painted it by doing it in, in Photoshop, which is, I don't know. It makes sense to me. It's better than, for me, I think it's better than sitting there and painting something and being like, no, I hate that. And then painting another one and go, well, what if I did that? I could just do it on the computer and it's quicker. Fun aside, I'm currently living off of Grand Avenue in South San Francisco because my home was destroyed by early Christmas morning. I don't know that's a fun aside. I don't think it's a fun aside at all. How did your home get destroyed on Christmas morning? That's terrible. I hope that everybody is safe. Second edition was Blood Angels versus Orcs, and the campaign was called Armageddon. The books are on my bedside these days. Nice. Plasma missile templates stayed on the table. You'd roll at the start of each player's turn to see if they disappeared, moved randomly around, shrunk, expanded. Oh, okay. The only time I use my 40K armies is my own house rules. Make sense. I'm trying to think of something that's like that. There was a not in 40K, but there was some kind of game that where basically you'd fire and then it would move around. But I don't remember what it was. Maybe it might have been smoke. It might have not been dangerous. It was just maybe obscuring. I don't remember what the heck rule set it was. But yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Adepticon. I really am. First month was hotels, then Super Bowl made it so expensive they put us in a house. Wow, that's crazy. Well, I hope, like I said, I hope everyone's safe. Trench Crusade. Yeah, one thing is that I would sort of like to figure out, and I don't know how easy this is going to be, I would sort of like to figure out a little bit about how to do a little bit of digital kit bashing. Looking at the rules, I feel like Lord of Tumors, who is a melee beast, like seriously, like crazy, he could have a weapon too. He could carry a mace. And so I kind of almost want to figure out a way to put a mace in his hand. You know what I mean? Like, because I did buy the STL. I haven't bought the STLs for these guys yet, but I bought the STLs during the Kickstarter for the Trench Pilgrims and the Heretic Legion. And I was going to do a Heretic Legion, and then Sam did Heretic Legion, so I'm like, well, I'll put them on the back burner. But I need to buy the STLs for these guys, which is fine. But another set of STLs that I bought during the original Kickstarter was the weapons. Do they have those on the website here? They probably do. Oh, cool. There's a cell tower. That's pretty neat. Yeah, like these. There's the weapons bundle. There's hell weapons, church weapons, etc. And so hell weapons, I'm sure there's some sort of thing, like there's guns, great, that's cool, but for the big guy, I could give him I don't know, some sort of big melee weapon and then put it on him. And if you just do it digitally, it's a little bit easier than doing it not digitally, although then you have to probably redo the supports and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I would like to learn a little bit more about that anyway. I've been doing a little bit of 3D design stuff. I was showing folks yesterday in the Patreon thing that so this is what they call an electrical gang. It's a 2-gang old work box. Hang on, I gotta go back to the main screen. That would make more sense. So this is a thing you get at the hardware store, and you cut a hole in the drywall when you're doing electrical stuff, and then this is the part that sticks out of the drywall here, and it's flush, and then you have, I don't know, electric plugs and electrician stuff. Anyway, you can get these at like I said, your local hardware store probably, and whatever, and you're like, okay, why are you showing me this? I don't care. Because if you take it like this, and maybe clip off some of these extra bits, it's like a cool, weird sci-fi kind of like, I don't know, power station or bunker or whatever and that kind of thing. But you need to stick stuff on it. And usually you just glue a bunch of plastic crap that you might have around the house or bits you've been holding onto or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but what if I designed stuff? What if I designed plastic crap instead? So I've been using my design software stuff that I use. It's called Plasticity. And I've been designing little, like here's a little vent thing. It's like 3 vents and then some indentation things. And I'm going to glue that like roughly about there or somewhere about, wrong side, maybe about there, something like that. And, you know, you need to be able to get in here to do whatever it is that goes on in here. So you need a door. So I designed a cool little door, little sci-fi looking hatch sort of thing. This needs a little bit of work. This one, it didn't print as well as it was supposed to. But then also, I was like, we need a thing on the roof too. So I started designing this stuff. And the thing that I was talking about yesterday is that it's very important when you're designing these things to then print them and look at them, because this, I knew it was the right size. I had pre-measured that it was going to go on the roof up here, right? But the little things that I designed when I printed them, I'm like, oh, those are a lot smaller than I thought they were. It's all about, like, it looks cool on the screen, but then when you print it, you're like, oh gosh, yeah, I'm a lot closer on the screen, you know, when you're zoomed in the software and stuff like that. So it's always a good idea. Like, this needs to be tweaked a little bit. This thing I think is probably as is pretty cool. This needs a lot of work. So I've been working on that too. And every once in a while you just print it to make sure you're doing it right. But yeah, I was thinking about making a video about this project, but again, I think it's one of those things that may or may not work. We'll see. But one of the benefits though is too, that my plan is that when I do get these Greeblies figured out and finished, then they will go on the Patreon. So if you are one of Uncle Adam's regulars at the $4 level, then you would just get to download them for free. Now, if you didn't want to do that and you just wanted to buy them, you can actually get, like I currently have a piece of terrain currently up on that I designed, an STL for 3D printing, probably obviously with FDM, not with resin, because it's a good size. But that thing is currently available on my Patreon. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, then you can just get it for $3. So, which is the cheapest I can set the price for some reason. They don't let you set the price of digital products less than $3. I don't know why. I'm assuming so they get their cut or whatever, but that's fine. So, so yeah, that's my plan also kind of going forward is about once a month, if I can, I want to drop something new onto the Patreon roughly every month. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I just like kind of messing around with that stuff. And it's not crazy hard. If I wanted to like sculpt a person or like something that looked like our skeleton friend here, you know, that's hard, I find. I don't know if I could do that kind of stuff, but like what they call a hard surface, like sci-fi looking, again, the Greeblies or buildings and things like that, that so far I've been okay at. So I'm having fun with it. It's neat. Oh, let's see here. Oh, the virus and the vortex bombs. Yeah, that they kind of did that. That's a good point. Yep. Christmas Eve was unkind to me as well, so you're not alone. That's a bummer. Thank goodness the school who was attending to build an outdoor pool is taking full responsibility for the mini disaster they caused. Wow, that's crazy. Have you watched the Artisans of Vol YouTube channel? I don't think so. I've not heard of it. Artisans of Vol. He has some basic to detailed miniatures related videos, one of the reposing and some, oh wait, no, maybe someone did tell me about that. Hang on. Yep, it's in my, I have a lot of open tabs. It makes my wife nervous. But yes, I do have an Artisans of Vol tab open somewhere. So someone did tell me about that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to watch some of that stuff at some point. For that very reason, because somebody I think else brought up about digital kit bashing. Let's see here. Looks like terrain to me. See, there you go. Checking to see who caught fire and ran around randomly is a feature I was fond of, though it did slow things down in larger games. True. I'm surprised STLs for them have not already taken off. There's lots of people out there who make them. I'm just like trying to make one specific for this project. And then if they can also be used in other projects for other people, I'll put them on the Patreon, you know. So there's that. Uncle Adam, have you acquired enough Shadow War Armageddon expanded rulebooks to sufficiently be a game advocate for it? Yes, I'm good at that point. And you can't see them because the glass is all, it's not glass, it's plexiglass, and it's all wavy like a circus mirror. But I have my warband of Grey Knights in there. So yeah, I'm going to get, who am I going to, I basically have to come up with another warband, I think, if I want to, you know, trick somebody else into playing. Can you connect your A1 with an iPad, or do you plug in a USB drive? For the A1, I use the app and then send stuff. I like basically use my Mac up here, but you could use a Mac or PC, place things in there, and then go from there. But I think you can also print from a phone too. I mean, I know I can print from a phone. Of course, trying to get the STL into the phone and then put it onto the thing is a little bit harder. You can also do the USB thing, I think, as well, but I've just, because it's all hooked to my network, I don't have to worry about it. It's on wireless. Like, I can literally be sitting up here. I did it yesterday during the Patreon show. I just basically was like, okay, I want to do this and this and this, and put this skeleton in there and set up these, and then print. And then it plays its little song down in the basement, and then 15 hours later, it was done. Never give up, never surrender, and paint some minis. I'm pretty sure that's yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. A1 is easiest controlled with a phone app and or desktop app over network. Do I have it on my iPad? I don't know if I do or not. Maybe. So there you go. All right, folks. Well, it is time for me to go. It's 11 a.m. here in my neck of the woods. And I got to go to, like I said, I got to go to lunch with the in-laws, and then I got to go to a birthday party, and then I got to come home and edit the podcast, and that's a whole thing. So I hope you folks have yourselves a good weekend. If you get the chance over the weekend, the rest of the weekend, unless it's already Monday, but whatever, try to get some hobby done if you can. And if you can't, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Thanks to everybody who came by and hung out. I appreciate it. If you're interested in more stuff about Trench Crusade, again, hashtag not sponsored, but just go take a look at trenchcrusade.com. The rules are free. You can use whatever kind of models you want, and that's very cool. And we'll find out more about what's going on with them at Adepticon. Like I said, I think they're probably going to release some new product, or at least tease some new product. Hopefully some bad guy stuff. I'm looking for some bad guy plastics. So thanks to everybody for coming by, and thanks for watching.